Hello and welcome to this microfocus ZENworks Service Desk video tutorial. Today we'll be discussing migration to the latest version of ZSD, version 8.3. I'm Paul Pedron, the product manager of ZENworks Service Desk. This is an overview of what we'll be discussing today. We'll talk about the major features that we've integrated into the latest version, upgrade strategies, of course, a bunch of tasks, both pre-upgrade and post-upgrade tasks, system requirements, appliance administration console, and then the appliance migration demonstration itself will be from version 8.2 to 8.3, and then debug and login information with resources and tips. So ZSD 8.3 has new major features. One of the biggest one is the redesign of the knowledge base. It gives you the same look and feel as you've experienced in the technician portal and the customer portal. We have a new advanced item search, LDAP additional filter query, store dynamic forms are now supported, and the new delegate role, we'll discuss that a little bit, and requests to add to group. Also some things in the customer portal, rearranging of dashlets, so a little bit of personalization here, and then being able to comment and rate the KBA articles. And then we'll have some customer backlog things discussed, and these are customer requested enhancements as well as some fixes. For specific details on the new features and how they work, you'll see the What's New in version 8.3 video on the Microfocus Support and Training YouTube channel. ZSD 8.3 new technical updates. So we've also done some technical updates, upgrading Angular, going to the Bootstrap framework. It's a very responsive layout. Also upgraded the PostgreSQL database version 13, which is the internal database. And then we also have support for MySQL version 8. Some other updates are updating Tomcat, Java, and jQuery to the latest, and 50 plus major and minor libraries. And as we mentioned before, some customer requests, defects, and fixes. So let's talk about some upgrade strategies. Of course, as you know, from version 7.5 onwards, we only supported the appliance model. In version 8.3, it's going to be a side-by-side upgrade. We do upgrade the database, so we need to have this as a migration. We also upgrade N+1 or N+2, meaning if you're at 8.1, you can upgrade to 8.3, or if you're 8.2, you can upgrade to 8.3. But if you're at 8.0, you have to get to one of the other two in order to upgrade to 8.3. You want to verify your system and database requirements ahead of time. If the database happens to be not supported on 8.3, upgrade your database on your older system before you upgrade to 8.3. System files and database schema are upgraded with each iteration. And VM appliances have the embedded database pre-configured, so you don't have to do any other additional configurations on it if you're using the embedded or internal database. Operating system and product security patches or updates are done via the online updates, and it's about a 3-month cadence, so you'll see those updates come in every quarter. File directory structure changes between some of the earlier versions, so be aware of that. There'll be slides at the end of the presentation for you to look at. And back up your customization files. Some are replaced during the side-by-side upgrades. And so what you'll have to do is actually modify those files again. So make sure you record those customization files so that you can modify them in the new system. Administrators and passwords available for your operating systems, your actual ZSD system, your DBA, have those things available to you when you do your upgrade in case you need to contact those individuals, and have a backup plan. Here are a couple more upgrade strategy reminders. Make sure you verify all downloaded files with their checksums. Double check your time sync between servers and external databases. Your disk space required for additional appliances is 5 gigabytes plus for the migration. Make sure there's free space, and also on your database. And then that servers are on the same subnets. Leave the external database running if you're doing the migration with an external database. And appliances require an additional virtual disk, which is typically called VA storage, virtual appliance storage. And this is common in version 7.5 and up. Also, post-upgrade, verify connected systems like email, LDAP, ZRS, CCM, whatever's connected, and online update registration. Double check that you have that registered when you're complete to see if there's any more security updates. And of course, when you're done, make sure you take a final snapshot and record any changes into your documentation. So here's some pre-upgrade tasks. And some of these will be repeated only because now we're in the process of doing this. A pre-upgrade task would be making sure that your external database is supported for version 8.3. ZSD should be at version 8.1 or 8.2 before upgrading to 8.3. Identify the network configurations and NTP settings to make sure that they're accurate. Verify expiration dates of internal and external certificates so they don't expire coming up to or just after your migration. Identify and document maybe screenshots of all the ZSD connected systems, email, LDAP, OpenID, whatever you have connected, get those snapshots so your documentation for your corporation has these details. And then back up the Service Desk Appliance server and any external database. It's best to do the snapshot when powered down. A couple more is backup customization files. Here's some locations to some customization files, banners, SSL certificates where you'll find them, Tomcat server changes. And again, only if you've made these modifications, right? If you haven't changed any Tomcat server changes like in the web XML or server XML, you don't need to back those up, okay? Next, copy system customization files and settings. Again, only if you've changed these, the theme colors and so forth, you'll find them in that particular location. And only if you've done Java changes, make sure you have copies of those files, as well as custom font size and color. You'll find those in the CSS. If you've done some customization and branding, you might want to make sure you get copies of those files. And if you've made some modifications to the logging.properties file, meaning your archive files are larger or whatever, any customizations you put in that, make sure you back that up. And then logging naming in the lifetime.properties, if you've made some changes, double check those. And then the legal text, make sure you have that. So in case anything goes awry, you at least have some backups of those to be able to reconfigure those files. Again, only if you've made those changes to customizations. The upgrade method. The in-place is not supported for version 8.3. We're going to do a side-by-side, which requires a pre-migration script, which is a Service Desk prereq 8.3 RPM. You'll find that in the SLD download. A VA storage disk copied older version to the new 8.3 location. So you're going to move that, actually copy that older system second disk to the new system and then mount that in the version 8.3. Re-register to the online update channel so you get your security patches, and database schema upgrade occurs automatically, and you'll see that when you go to the technician portal after the upgrade. All right, let's start the side-by-side upgrade task. Again, we're at 8.1 or 8.2. We're at the terminal. It's powered up. We're going to go ahead and run the Service Desk prereq 8.3.0 RPM, and you can do that by bringing it into this maybe /temp directory and then chmodding it and then running the RPM with these commands here. Power down the ZENworks Service Desk 8.2 or 8.1 server, copy the attached older VA storage disk 8.1 or 8.2 to the 8.3 appliance, then power up the ZSD 8.3 appliance. It will now assume or inherit the identity of your older system. You'll accept the license. You'll enter the root and SD admin passwords. And once it's complete, it'll tell you on your console that you can go to port 9443. Go ahead and do that. Select the classic ZENworks Service Desk tile, which also take you to the technician portal, which will give you the upgrade completion of the database before it actually goes to the technician portal. If it should fail, it'll tell you that it's failed at this point. The nice thing about this is you can fall back to your other system if you can't resolve it, and everything's running good, and we can diagnose that with support. If it's successful, though, you'll verify that the DB upgrade has succeeded and attached services are working. So make sure your email is working and all those connected services. Again, after the upgrade, the database migration will occur automatically. This completion message should be viewed going to the technician portal. Again, the internal database will be migrated to PostgreSQL version 13 during this upgrade. So some of the post-upgrade tasks after you've completed, you're going to verify and restore the external system communications, make sure the database connection is there, email configuration, LDAP, any connected systems, other communications. Maybe you have 2 form factor authentication or federation connections. You want to make sure those are good. Update the license if you've changed your entitlement. Okay, if you haven't, the license will just carry over. It'll be inherited from the other system. Apply online updates, re-register with version 8.3 channel, and that activation key is in SLD as we mentioned before. Set online update channel schedules, and that's optional if you want to automatically do that or not. And then configure new features. In this case, a delegate role, you can now use to store dynamic forms, some of the personalization stuff, and other things you'll see in the What's New documentation and video. Backup and snapshot of the new ZSD version 8.3 server, database, and components, and then update your company's ZSD system configuration documentation. Restore tasks if you need to. Verify your NTP settings and your network settings and restore those customizations I mentioned earlier, the banners, the CSS files. Now, you don't want to replace the files. You want to modify the existing files to those settings that you had previously, because each version has a larger CSS set of commands and you don't want to lose those, right? Or other commands in the other files, okay? Server configuration for Java settings, again, only if you change these or the server.xml or web.xml. Otherwise, everything's normal. You shouldn't have to worry about restoring those particular files if you haven't made those customizations. Some of the Micro Focus service desk documentation, we have the main documentation site listed here. We have the 7 upgrade cookbook in case you need to get to 8. You have the 8.0 to 8.2 upgrade cookbook. And I created a brand new 8.3 upgrade cookbook because the 8.2 was getting quite large. We went through a few versions on that. So I simplified it with this particular TID. And then ZENworks Service Desk Customization Cookbook is here for your use as well. When you do download in version 8.3, the product download should display when you go into SLD version 8.3. And you should have your hypervisor, the README, and the prereq all available there. Again, you're going to verify checksum. If you hover over or click more details to show checksum, you can get that. License not needed if upgrading and your purchase license hasn't changed. If you went from standard to ITIL, then you'll need to change your license. Okay. Online update key will need to be re-entered on the new appliance version 8.3, which is that registration key. Here's some historical strategies for upgrading. In case you're still back at 7.4 or 7.5, remember it's N+1 or N+2, so you have to go every other version to get there a little bit faster, but you'll have to do it in increments if you're that far back. But version 8.1.x and version 8.1 or 8.2 can both go to 8.3 directly. Okay, otherwise you may have some steps. The difference between side-by-side or in place is if there's a major change in the appliance, like the operating system, the database, then you'll be doing it side-by-side, which makes it quicker and easier to script and get a successful upgrade. Some of the methods, again, as we go through each version, those are the version methods as indicated earlier. We're going to be doing everything from 8.1, 8.2 to 8.3 in this particular upgrade. System requirements, it gives you the system requirements here as we show different versions of 8.3 all the way back to 7.0. And then system requirements on the database, it shows you which database are supported through each version. Again, if your database isn't supported in the version you're going to, upgrade the database first and then do your upgrade of the appliance. Again, we're going from 8.1 to 8.2, and obviously if you have internal, we've obviously jumped from 9 to 13. Hypervisor requirements are here as well. Not much change throughout, except at 8.2 we stopped supporting the VMware Workstation. And then some of the system requirements, making sure that you have the proper RAM disks and CPU cores. These are all listed also in the upgrade cookbook as well. Finally, the file customizations, these are the locations for some of those particular files that I mentioned earlier that you want to back up and restore or back up and use for modifications on the new system. So you can find these here, and some of these make sure you are case sensitive, so make sure you have the right case sensitivity. The Service Desk 8.x administration console looks like so. You'll see this on your appliance. And then you'll also see, if you go to port 9443, you'll see these particular icons if you log in as SD admin. And as root, you have more of the operating system icons. So you can then get to the operating system as well for time and network and so forth. Here are some of the commands for the appliance console. Starting the Jetty service or checking the status. Again, it's start, stop, or status. And that's for the Jetty service, the Service Desk service, the data model service, PostgreSQL database, and then checking the OS release as well as the Service Desk release. You can type in cat etc star-release. And then there's cool solutions here about using systemctl. As for some ZSD debug and log locations, to set your system in debug mode, you can check out TID 7017045. Of course, there's restart services in the administration portal, as well as some command lines as well for systemctl. And then if you want to do things with your live time and Service Desk logs, trying to locate them, check out 7018199. And export, you can export via the SD console, the log export, and you can actually get that through the console itself, or you can do command lines by going to the log locations for those particular logs you're looking for. And if you're looking at ZENworks Service Desk memory settings, you can also click on this particular link so that you can get to those in case you need to tweak those. Again, when you migrate, you need to make sure you have note of these changes so that you can make sure they're modified in the new upgraded version. Now we'll do a demonstration of going from version 8.2 to version 8.3, and this will be accelerated. We'll stop at the points where you need to make some changes, but otherwise it's fairly simple and easy to do. Okay, this operation we're going to upgrade to ZENworks Service Desk 8.3. A previous version, and the qualifying versions are 8.1x and 8.2x, and we currently have an 8.2x in the mix. The first thing we're going to do, because it takes a little bit of time, is open up our VMware and register and deploy our VMware 8.3 without powering it up. So we're going to go ahead and do ZSD 8.3 upgrade. And we're going to go ahead and grab our OVA, which we checked checksums on, so we know it's successful and accurate. We're going to go to disk 2, where we're going to put that, and we're going to not power it up automatically when it completes the upload. And we're going to let that simmer for a little bit. You can see it on this line here, and it will progress as we need to. In the meantime, we can see that we have an 8.2.1 version of Service Desk sitting here. There we are. We'll sign in. You can see it's 8.2.1. There's a couple ways to do this. You can go to Terminal and File Explorer to run your commands if you wish. Or we can run them from the console themselves. So we're going to go over to the console itself, bring it up, log in. And if we look, we have our prereq that needs to be uploaded to the temp directory. So let's go ahead and upload that. The prereq in the temp directory so we can run it to prepare the version 8.2.1 appliance for the upgrade. And so we'll just run RPM minus IHV, and we're going to go Service Desk, and we can just hit Tab to let it self-complete. As you can see, it's now preparing the second disk in the system for upgrading, and we are ready to go. So now we can power down this particular system by going to Shutdown and back to our VM console. The next step would be, now that 8.2.1 is powered down, is to find out where that second disk resides. You can see here that we've uploaded that 8.3 appliance, so we're good there. We're going to close this particular screen. We're going to look at hard disk 2. We haven't backed it up, so let's go ahead and do a quick snapshot on that. So Actions, Snapshot, Take Snapshot, and this is IP address ZSD 8.2.1 before upgrade prereq run. And even if you don't complete the migration and the prereq is run, it doesn't do anything to the drive or anything. It just is a check and a prep. All right, so now that we've run that, we can now see that our disk, second disk, is here. And I made a quick snapshot of that so we have the disk and I can find it. So we're going to go over to storage, our data browser. We're on disk 2 with that particular device, ZSD 8.2.1 test. And if we look here, we have version 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy that, and it'll ask me where do I want to copy it. And I think I did this particular one here is the directory, so I'll copy it there. And you'll see it start copying down here. So it'll actually use this volume for the second disk of 8.3. And since we ran the prereq, it'll be able to migrate everything just fine, including the database. That's complete. Now we can go back over to our virtual machines and find our 8.4.8.3 upgrade and power that on. Now, should this have been a straight new install, you would fire up the OVA and just add another disk. You wouldn't have to copy anything. You just add a second disk so it could use that as the second disk for your new appliance. But since we're doing a migrate and want to keep all the data, we did a migrate and moved that volume over. So one thing we did not do is mount that drive. We copied it over, but we didn't mount. So you'll experience this particular error. So let's go ahead and power off the virtual machine. That will also come up if you don't run the prereq. So we powered off the machine. Now we have to mount a second drive on this particular VM. So we're going to go to Edit Settings, Add Hard Disk, Existing Hard Disk. We were in disk 2, and we're doing the 8.3 upgrade. And we now have to mount that second drive. Now let's power it on. So you can see here we are proceeding with the upgrade, and it's asking us for our root and SD admin passwords for the 9443 administration console. So we'll put those in, hit OK. Now after I hit OK, it's going to automatically inherit the rest of the configurations from the previous appliance. If this was a brand new install, you'd actually have to put this network information in. But since it's a migration, it automatically takes it and continues on. Now it's completed the migration except for the database, which it's doing right now. So if we go and log in, we're on 8.3. If we go back over to here, we can see that we should be on 8.3 as well. Let's try to reconnect. If we log in, the last thing it does is do the database. So you can see we're on 8.3. If we go to the classic service desk, which is our technician portal, you will see that it is in progress. Now that it has been successfully upgraded to 8.3, we can close this and it'll open up our technician portal. And again, we can see that we are at 8.3. Okay, now all you have is the post-task updates. Much of the branding has come over, but if there are other individual branding that are in the CSS files that you need to make sure are there, you'd want to add those in as well. Okay, currently we are not at using custom, but just follow the directions in the guide and you'll be able to get your customizations all back to how it was. Here are some ZENworks Service Desk resources. Of course, the documentation site for 8.3, the specific upgrade cookbook for version 8.3, and then there's public forums, the YouTube channel for Service Desk, training tutorials, as well as the Ideas Exchange portal. Make sure you get your ideas in so that we can get votes and see how popular it is to get it into the product. And then Service Desk Customization Cookbook is here as well. This allows you to do branding and different modifications for look and feel. If you are interested in the ZSD betas, please email us at zen@microfocus.com so that we can add you to the list and be able to participate in those things, giving direct feedback to the developers. As far as some tips, let's talk about the new end user portal. Pretty common, refreshing your browser, Control F5 to get the new view. The new ZENworks Service Desk, which is labeled in the administration portal, that particular tile points to /service desk. Okay, and then customization for the end user portal is under Setup, Customize, New End User Portal tab. Migrating older Service Desk versions, see the videos on the ZSD YouTube channel and see the upgrade cookbook TIDs referenced in the resources here. In summary, we've covered at least a high view of what major features are in version 8.3, some upgrade strategies, of course the tasks all the way through from pre-upgrade to post-upgrade, checking out system requirements, appliance administration console. We had a short demonstration on 8.2 to 8.3, and then we talked a little bit about debug and logging resources and tips. Thank you for joining us about the Micro Focus ZENworks Service Desk version 8.3 migration. We hope this answered your questions to have very successful migration of your own ZSD system. This concludes the training video on migrating the Micro Focus ZENworks Service Desk to version 8.3. Have a great day.